loud.
Black Lives Matter.
Say it proud.
Black Lives Matter.
Say it loud.
Black Lives Matter.
Say it proud.
Black Lives Matter.
Systemic racism in the United States is a persistent and heavy knee in the necks of black people. It is cutting off our breath. We can't breathe. We die driving. We die walking back from the store with Skittles and Arizona iced tea. We die in random traffic stops. We die watching TV in our own homes. We die undertreated in hospitals and overcrowded in prisons. We are dying disproportionately more from coronavirus. We die because we are always presumed guilty. We can't breathe. We are here today because we are tired of being overlooked and over-surveilled. We are here today because we want the next generation to not have to have the talk with their children. No Nerf guns outside. Stay together. This is how you interact with the police. This is how you interact with your teacher. This is how you interact with a stranger. We are here today because we want to feel like we belong even without our Colgate sweatshirts. We are here today because we are tired of being afraid. We are here today because we oppose a system that does not protect, respect, or value us. We are here today because that system still does not treat us as fully human. We can't breathe. In 1955, Carolyn Bryant knew how to get Emmett Till killed. 65 years later, in 2020, Amy Cooper still knows what to do. It's suffocating. It's time for a change. We can't breathe. It's time for a change. We can't breathe. It's time Black Lives Matter. Say it loud.
Black Lives Matter.
Say it proud.
Black Lives Matter.
Say it loud.
Black Lives Matter.
Say it proud.
Black Lives Matter.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
We alive. Good afternoon. Yes. We are here standing today because one of the reasons being that monstrous deaths have occurred at the hands of the police. People that we know like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, and many others that we don't know. We're also standing here today as a moment of recognition and also as a moment of responsibility. Black lives are dying all the time, and it is not just at the hands of the police, it is in multiple ways. So today we are standing to recognize those lives that have literally gone and passed on to another space, another place. But we also are here to accept responsibility. We have an opportunity to accept the responsibility of how we can ensure that Black lives truly matter. Many people have taken on this idea that Blue Lives Matter, we added these onto the tails of Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter stands in as an opportunity to recognize the ways that paradoxically we have been necessary and also obliterated, disposable and yet necessary to this very institution, to the very institution being the United States of these America. So I ask us to also, while we're mourning, while we're grieving, while we're standing up in recognition of these people whose lives have literally gone, that we also think about the spiritual, the physical, the emotional murdering that we participate in our complicity and are not speaking up and are not recognizing. And in that, I want to say the names of those people. So, Darnesha Harris. Say her name. Darnesha Harris. So when I say their name, you say her name.
Darnisha Harris,
Say her name.
Pamela Turner,
Say her name.
Kiwi Herring,
Say her name.
Tatiana Jefferson, Tanisha Anderson, Ayanna Stanley Jones, Yvette Smith, Corinne Gaines, Miriam Carey, Shelley Frey, Sandra Bland, Maya Hall, Sharice Francis, Melissa Williams, Rakia Boyd, Chantel Davis, Breonna Taylor. If you don't know these names, this is again a moment of recognition to recognize what we don't know. If you've heard these names before, act like you know, remember them, and work toward the practice of showing that Black Lives Matter.
It's interesting. About a month or two ago, I was doing finals, and one of my projects that I had to do was create a lesson plan on how COVID-19 is affecting different populations, and I decided to do my project around how COVID-19 and racism go hand in hand. As you may know, Black and brown communities are being being affected at higher rates than white communities. And in doing so, I want to look at how police respond to different people doing protests. So you saw white communities in arms, going to the state capitol, getting police officers' faces, screaming in their faces, toting guns, doing nothing. What did the police do? Nothing. Yet you have a black man killed, a black woman killed in her own home, another black man killed going for a run, and people take to the streets, start protesting. What do police officers do? Meet them with violence. Where's the same energy when it was white people doing the same thing? All I ask is that the police officers treat my people who have been affected at rates for years, centuries, slavery, all that. Like, slavery isn't gone, it has evolved. Police system, the prison system, all I ask is that we're treated the same way, that we're treated equally, that we're given rights. I shouldn't have to fear for my life going to Big Lots just because I don't know what's gonna happen. I shouldn't have to think about all the black kids that are in this neighborhood not knowing what's gonna happen to them. Because it's easy to say, oh, it's happening elsewhere. However, it's also happening in our communities. It's happening here in Hamilton. It's happening on Colgate's campus. Colgate is like trying to escape all they want, but there are professors, there are students, there are faculty and staff that are also perpetuating racism on campus where black and brown students feel like they're not safe. Going into a classroom where you're the only black kid is very daunting. You don't know what you have to say, you don't know what you're gonna do, because it's easy for the professor to utilize their power to give you a failing grade, and you can't feel like you can speak what you want to say. That's not right. We're here to learn. We're here to have a college experience, and that's taken away from us because we feel like we have to cater to the white power that's in place. That's not okay. I don't know if you've probably seen the news, but I'm from New York City, and the New York City police are already assholes. But both my brothers, we live alone. They're both essential workers. There's now a curfew that's been pushed to 8 o'clock. At first it was 11 o'clock, like the day before, but they're essential workers. They work night shifts. I'm now worrying that I may not even get a call from them or a text from them because something could have happened to them. I have no idea what's gonna happen. They have to leave the house after curfew in order to get to class, to work on time. How am I supposed to know what happens to them? There's no way for them to tell me what's happening to them. There's no way that the police is actually gonna sit down and talk to my brothers who are, believe it or not, bigger than I am, both of them, and think they're not a threat, they're not trying to protest, they're not trying to break shit, and they're not gonna get attacked. I shouldn't have to worry about that. I shouldn't have to worry that my brothers or any black person can get killed in their own home while they're sleeping. Breonna Taylor, say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
She was sleeping in her own home and gets shot, 8 times? What sense does that make? We have a president who's spilling nonsense and actively getting people to go out and attack black protesters, yet nothing's happening. That makes no sense. I shouldn't have to check in on my black students, my black friends, and just say, are you okay? We should be okay because we're alive. Why should I have to assume that they're not okay? Why should I have to constantly check in on them? It makes no sense. And so, to conclude, this goes out to my white folk, to my non-black people. Like, the fight is also in your hands. It's not always up to black people, black students, black faculty, black staff to educate you. It's on you to educate yourselves. Something shouldn't happen, especially when we talk. Especially when it comes to Colgate. Like, I've graduated at this point, but still. Like, thank you. A racial incident shouldn't happen every semester on campus. The university sends out an email saying we're investigating, we're working on it, and then nothing actually happens. It feels like we get the same thing over and over again. We're tired. Students are tired of that. Staff, black faculty and staff are tired of it because we see the same thing over and over again, and nothing actually happens. So where are the action plans? How are you holding your staff accountable? How are you holding faculty accountable? How are you holding students accountable? Because whether you believe it or not, this shit happens every day, whether it be microaggressions or just full-out overt racism, as we saw this past fall when somebody wrote nigger on a whiteboard. And guess what? I get it, the student got handled or whatever, but it feels like nothing happened. It feels like, oh, we did it, okay, cool, and then it got dropped. But there's still not that sense of safety for other students on campus. So we need more from the university. We need students want to feel like they can actually go to people, go to white faculty, white staff, admin, and feel like they're going to help them. Because as of now, it doesn't feel like that's happening. So again, it's on you to actually put in that work and change yourselves. Because it may be uncomfortable, but guess what? It's uncomfortable and harmful and scary for black and brown students to live every single day of their lives. So if you're uncomfortable, oh well. Go out there, talk to your family, talk to your communities, because otherwise nothing's going to change. So it's on you as well as it's on us. You have to be out there, and that's it.